Join us, the Mr. and Mrs. Morgan you know, for a new 15-minute weekly recap about the most recent episode of Survivor Season 42.
Come on in. We'll appear in your podcast feeds every Wednesday morning, so you're all caught up before the newest episode airs on Wednesday night.
Like, subscribe, and share while you outwit, outplay, and outlast.
Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know Podcast Network presents Balls and Brew.
Welcome back to the flagship sports podcast of the Morgan You Know Podcast Network. I am your host, Rod Morgan. Joining me from, maybe the cradle of college basketball is my co-host, Chris King, joining us from North Carolina. That's the cradle of college basketball, as much as it pains me to say. There are a lot of good college basketball programs down that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of good basketball in this state. Is it the cradle? Wouldn't the cradle be like the birth? Wouldn't that be like Kansas, technically?
Yeah, I'm sure Kansas would love to have that distinction, and cradle is probably not the right word. The hotbed of college basketball is probably better, but cradle I saw the Billy Idol Cradle of Rock the Cradle of Love video earlier, and it's on my mind. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Joining us to be our bracketologist and not our football handicapper for his season finale appearance for a couple of months. He's getting ready to take off and go vacation wherever it is that football handicappers vacation. But joining us to be our bracketologist is Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? March Madness time, 4-day weekend, I assume, for everyone?
No, certainly not. I'll be working tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So
That's blasphemy, man. That's crazy.
Hey, the people of Granger need their mail, Mr. Williams. The people of Granger need their mail. And as I was talking to you guys before the episode, I didn't do a bracket last year, and I, of course, didn't do a bracket the year before that because nobody did. And so when you don't do something, you sort of get used to not doing it. So I must admit, I do not have a bracket filled out and done at this point. I do not watch a lot of college basketball. I did forget that the Hoosiers were on last night until about 8 minutes left to go in the second half, and I tuned in and watched the end of that game there. And I have the Notre Dame play in game on in the background here in the Morgan You Know studios, but that's about as far as my knowledge goes. So you guys are gonna have to help carry me here a little bit today.
Let's go, man. And there's already concern about IU. I guess after the game last night, there was problems with the flight. They were stuck on the tarmac till like 4 a.m, and now they have to fly all the way to Portland, Oregon, to play at like 4:30 Pacific time tomorrow. So or Thursday, whenever you're hearing this pod. So yeah, it's questionable flight situations going on here with the Hoosiers.
Well, let's be honest. They're a 12 seed playing a 5 in St. Mary's, who us here in the Midwest don't know an awful lot about because they play on the West Coast, but that's a good basketball team. Chris, I mean, you love the Hoosiers, but they're not necessarily supposed to win that game anyway, so maybe it won't matter.
I believe I've seen some lines where the Hoosiers are actually favored by like a point and a half. It's a dangerous game for Indiana fans. St. Mary's is no joke. If it wasn't for Gonzaga, they would have won that conference easily.
Yeah. Well, we will get to your Indiana thoughts, I suppose, when we get to their place in the bracket here. We are not necessarily going to go through and pick an entire bracket because I just don't know how exciting a podcast that will be. But we'll go ahead and we'll pick out the regions. We'll talk about some upset specials that each of you guys feel about there, some teams that you feel strongly about definitely coming out, and then we'll pick a Final Four and things of that nature as we roll along here. And Mr. Williams, any great nuggets that you have dug up in the research, make sure that you give to us. And if I don't get to one of the nuggets you have before we move on to a region, make sure you let me know. All right? Does that sound like good ground rules?
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right. You guys can pick. Which bracket would you like to start with first? Which one do you feel like has the most juicy nuggets that we better make sure we have plenty of time to dissect? You guys pick.
Chris, where do you want to go?
Let's just get it right out of the way, and we will go to the West where Gonzaga is. We can talk about them. Are they going to get it done this year? And we'll start right there in the West. That's the top number 1 seed. Why not start there?
All right, I love it. That's correct. Gonzaga is the 1 in that bracket. Duke is the 2. So those are your 2 teams that are supposed to meet for the chance to go in the Final Four there. But somehow I imagine that won't be who you guys have coming out of there. Mr. Williams, I guess I'll start with you here. Who are some teams that we maybe don't know a lot about but should be looking out for in that bracket?
Yeah, check out Vermont here. They are a pretty good three-point shooting team. They're better than the Colgate team that Arkansas had problems with last year in the tournament. Arkansas was only winning by like 2 points against Colgate with a few minutes to go last year, held on to survive in that one. But that Arkansas team this year isn't as good as the one last year. And Vermont, I think, is better than Colgate from last year. So also that game is being played, I believe, in Buffalo. So there'll be a lot of Northeast fans up there. So that's one to watch here. And Vermont has steamrolled through their conference tournament. I mean, they are rolling teams by like 20, 30 points. Arkansas just previously got rolled by A&M in the SEC semis. So Arkansas, very good defensive team, but whoever controls the style of pace of play in this game is probably going to end up winning. Vermont, very good shooters from beyond the arc. So that's one game I'm looking at.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you like Vermont enough? Because the game I actually heard a little bit about on the radio on the way in is that UConn should be on upset alert, Chris. And I know you like hearing that. I know you love to see UConn go down. But I hear that New Mexico State actually has 4 guys of their 5 that are back after 4 years playing together. And then their 5th guy is a transfer over who's actually one of the top scorers in the entire tournament. So UConn, look out for upset alert, Chris. And I know you love it when the UConn Huskies go down.
Yeah, I'm not a big UConn fan. I actually went with UConn in this matchup. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be an overtime game. I think UConn squeaks by, and then they ended up getting beat by Vermont in the second round, so Vermont goes to the Sweet 16 because I had them as the big upset bracket buster in this bracket.
Wow, look out. You buried the lead. My goodness.
New Mexico State is not a joke, though. I thought they could have easily gotten a higher seed than a 12. But UConn is not a slouch either. That's going to be a very exciting game. It's one of the must-watch games, I think, out of this first round for the West.
All right, there you go. Mr. Williams, it looks like you got some thoughts on that game. What do you got?
Yeah, I like UConn in that game. New Mexico State hasn't played anybody inside the top 40 in KenPom rankings. They're not very efficient from the outside. And UConn's number 1 in offensive rebounding in the nation. They're a very physical team. They're number 2 in the country in potential points scored off of second chances. So UConn doesn't really turn you over, but also that's another little home game advantage, home court advantage for UConn with that game being played in Buffalo. So you take a look at that Buffalo like sub-region. That's going to be like an electric atmosphere with Vermont fans there and UConn fans there, and there's also another sub-region where Providence is playing over there. So that's going to be I feel like that arena is going to be jived and pumped up for those games Thursday and Friday.
You don't think a huge contingent's going to come up from Arkansas to be hanging out in Buffalo, New York right now in the middle of March? You don't feel like there's a big contingent of that happening?
Do they even know where Buffalo's at? Like, nobody from Arkansas is going up there.
That's a rough pull for those guys, man. I'm sure they were pretty excited to get that seed, and then they were like, "We got to go to Buffalo." Oh my goodness, that's a bummer. Let me ask you about this. Let's talk about the Irish here, because Chris, this is sort of in your wheelhouse as well, because you're our Big Ten expert around here. Well, I suppose Mr. Williams knows the Big Ten just as well as you do. But we got Rutgers, Notre Dame on right now. Should Alabama be worried about either of those teams?
If I was Alabama, I'd probably be more worried about Rutgers. However, I think Notre Dame wins tonight. Mike Bray is a hell of a coach when he has time to prepare, and he has time to prepare for this game. It's going to be tough for Rutgers to win this game. So I think Notre Dame gets through, but then they lose to Alabama.
Shout out to my guy, Coach Mike Bray. Ran into him at the Uptown Kitchen on my mail route one day, and he was incredibly nice. Said, "Hey, good to see you, guy." And then shout out to my guy. Me and Mike Bray apparently guys now. That's the thing that happened. You didn't know that, did you, Mr. Williams? That Mike Bray was my guy.
Hey, he's your guy. I think Bama has they better be worried about if Rutgers wins this game, because Rutgers can take you off the dribble. That's something that Notre Dame struggles with. I mean, if Notre Dame's hitting their threes, they can beat either one of these teams. But Rutgers really takes you off the dribble. Ron Harper Jr.'s son, Ron Hopper, his son, Junior, plays for Rutgers. He's hit a couple game winners this year, one against Purdue, one against IU. And Geo Baker, too, can take you off the dribble. So, and Alabama's defense is not nearly as good this year as it was last year since they lost Herb Jones. So Alabama's kind of been trending downwards lately. I actually took a future on them to begin the season, and that's looking terrible right now. So do not like that future as much as I like the Baylor one last year. So, yeah, Bama's on upset alert no matter who wins this game tonight.
Chris, you love that Geo Baker guy, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't that dude 24 years old? I mean, you love that guy because he's about as old as a college basketball player could be, right?
He always plays good against Indiana, so I'm not a fan.
Of course, it always relates back to IU. All right, so we've talked a little bit about some of the other teams in this region, but when we get down to the big boy time in this region, when we got just two teams playing for the right to go to the Final Four, who do you think that's ultimately going to be, Mr. Williams?
Man, in this region, I'm probably going to go with Texas Tech. They have the number one defense efficiency rating in the nation. And
so you got Texas Tech beating the Dukies. You got Texas Tech beating Krzyzewski in his final game, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's if Davidson doesn't beat Duke first. We'll see.
So you got
about
Davidson
that.
beating Michigan State then. Wow, look out, Tom Izzo.
Very good shooting team. Davidson is. They kind of blew it there. The Atlantic 10 conference tournament final against Richmond. That actually I believe that got Notre Dame. Barely into the tournament, or if a few more upsets would have happened, Notre Dame wouldn't have made the tournament. So, Davidson blew it there, but I think they have enough to get past Michigan State. We'll see. I mean, everybody probably wants to see
who's Texas Tech taking on from the top end of the bracket.
Yeah, man, I'm not as high on Gonzaga as most people, but it's probably going to be Gonzaga. I just don't know if UConn has enough offense to hang with Gonzaga for 40 minutes. If it's UConn there, it could be any one of a couple teams there. So, yeah, I don't know. It's probably Gonzaga.
All right, so you like Gonzaga v. Texas Tech for the right to go to the Final Four. Chris, what say you as the two teams vying for the right to be the West participant in the Final Four?
I don't see anybody beating Gonzaga until this game, and then I have them playing Duke, and I have Duke winning, getting Krzyzewski to a Final Four.
Nice. All right, I will just go ahead and release my pick now. And Gonzaga fans, I am sorry because I had my preamble about knowing absolutely nothing, but I'm completely fascinated with Chet Holmgren. I'd like to think that if I was, about 9 inches taller, maybe I could have been Chet Holmgren. So give me the skinny white guy team to win the championship. Gonzaga is my team coming out of the West and my team to win the whole thing. So I'm not going to provide much more analysis other than that. So we got it out of the way with the first.
He is a special kind of player, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course, it's always an NBA angle with me, right? I'm just interested to see how high in the draft he's going to go, what team's going to take a chance on him. You know, he's a bit of a versatile big, but he's got no weight to him whatsoever. Are you going to think that he's going to get some weight? If he gets some weight, does he change his game? He fascinates me, so that reason alone is why I pick Gonzaga. So that has nothing to do with their ability as a college basketball team. All right, well, I'll tell you what then. If you guys pick the West first, let's just go ahead and go down to the East, the bracket below them, the team that the West will take on in the Final Four. You have Baylor. Shout out to any Tony Kornheiser listeners. Phil's mom always would call them Baylor. They are the number 1 seed there. Then you have Kentucky, Calipari, number 2 seed. Purdue in there as well. Ugly. This is just an ugly bracket for teams for me. But those are just my personal feelings. Mr. Williams, what are your thoughts about them as basketball teams?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the region of death over here, man. They just loaded up this bracket, this region in the East, and totally they didn't spread out the talent very well in this whole bracket because there's way too much talent in the East, and the Midwest has a super easy path. So yeah, but if you want a Cinderella, I don't know if you call it a Cinderella or not, but there's a subscription that I look into on VSiN Vegas Sports Information and Network, and there's a guy there, Steve Mackinnon, shout out to him. He broke down like all the Cinderellas and the 17 stats that, over the last 10 years, of upsets and who could get upset. and there's 17 markers of that. The team that fits the most markers, 17 out of 17, is your Indiana Hoosiers. And the team that is most likely to get upset, 17 markers out of 17, your St. Mary's Gales. So if that's holds course, your upset 12-5 should be IU over St. Mary's. But
did we check this guy's IP address? Is he operating out of Bloomington?
Look, man, I can't believe it either.
Wearing a red sweater by chance when he was doing these?
Yeah, he's breaking down all sorts of historical data here. But yeah, we'll see. I was high on IU up until last night, and I know they won, but they didn't. Other than 2 players, they didn't look very good. And then you have this whole travel situation, so. We'll see. That game should be a barn burner. First one to 60 may win that one.
We'll leave it to IU to buck that trend.
Your thoughts on the East, Chris? Your overview on the East there. Do you see it as the bracket of death, like Mr. Williams called it?
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams.
Because UCLA's the 4 seed. I didn't even mention them. A lot of people think they're a great team.
Yeah, I am right there along with it. I think they get to the Sweet 16. Excuse me. Baylor is a top-notch team. I think they get to the Sweet 16. San Francisco is a team that really intrigues me out of this bracket. I think they get by Murray State in that opening round, and I think they give Kentucky all they can handle in that second round game.
Give them more than that. Take them out.
I can really see San Francisco beating Kentucky there. I still kind of am leading to Kentucky because Calipari has done his Calipari things again this year, and they're a solid team. I know they had a little hiccup in the SEC tournament, but they're still a tough team. But that San Francisco team is fun to watch. They can shoot. They have really good guard play. It's just a really, really dangerous team.
Is Bill Russell going to be in attendance for that game?
Wouldn't that be great?
Hey, man, I can't figure San Francisco make the tournament very often anymore. You know what I mean? I also love, I'm looking at these matchups here. I love that we have Purdue vis-a-vis Yale. We have the Ivy League versus the Farm League there. Absolutely fabulous in that game. Mr. Williams, what do you got?
San Francisco, first time making it since 1998.
See?
And
that was just off the dome. That was just me pulling stuff off the dome there. Call me Lenardi on that one.
There you go. I wish that the committee wouldn't have matched those two smaller bid conferences up against each other. You know, put them against a large conference. You know, San Fran and Murray State had such awesome years. Murray State is 30-2. One of those losses is to Auburn. I mean, those two teams are awesome. Probably both underseeded, and the committee puts them up against each other. While you got like USC and Miami and lackluster teams over in the Midwest, LSU, Iowa State, like nobody is pumped about that game.
Texas versus Virginia Tech. Who cares about that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom half of over there by the Midwest is just trash. And, yeah, I don't know. They loaded up the East too much there.
And Kentucky gets to play in Indianapolis, too. Man, I hope they get booed by people who are just there from Indianapolis. Good Lord, Chris, the Wildcats. I love that you already predicted them possibly to lose. That was great. Who else should be on upset alert in that bracket?
Really, I don't think, I guess this will be technically an upset. I think Texas takes care of Purdue in that second round. Past that, really, it's probably going to be pretty chalk until you get to the Sweet 16 for me. I do have UCLA taking out Baylor in that Sweet 16 matchup.
Ooh, all right. So then you got UCLA taking on who to see who goes to the Final Four?
Right now I have UCLA and Kentucky in that Elite Eight matchup.
See, look at you. You're much better at going with your head than you are just your heart. I could never pick Kentucky to go that far. Perhaps it's why it's ruined me in many a bracket challenge. Mr. Williams, how about you?
Man, this is tough. If Baylor was fully healthy, I would pick them to get through this region here. They're the most athletic team.
You don't have to give me your Final Four pick yet. Just who's going to be playing for the Final Four here.
Yeah. I was just saying LJ Cryer's out for Baylor. Another big man, Everyday John's out for Baylor. So that's why people are so low on Baylor. If you want to go game theory, if anybody's listening here and playing in a bracket with a ton of entries, take Baylor to get to like the national championship game because nobody will take that. And if it happens, then hey, you're in the money. But yeah, I probably lean towards Chris, man. With Chris, it's it's probably going to be UCLA and Kentucky, but this is the bracket that's most loaded. So if you're willing to throw a dart here, just go ahead and do it, because I think the three number one seeds on the other regions have super easy draws to get to the Final Four. So this one's going to be chaos, I think, in the East.
Now, wait a minute. Again, I confess to not knowing much about college basketball, but is UCLA's coach Mick Cronin?
Yes.
And that's the guy who coached Louisville for a couple of years too, right?
Cincinnati.
And then he never went to Louisville?
No.
All right. So I was thinking of the guy. So there was a guy who was Louisville's coach at one point who was throwing some serious smoke at Calipari one time, and I loved that dude.
Chris Mack, yeah, just recently. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I was thinking Chris Mack and Mick Cronin were the same guy. I told you I don't know anything about college basketball.
Chris Mack's like 2 feet taller than Mick Cronin.
But UCLA kind of surprised people in the tournament last year, didn't they?
Yeah, so UCLA is tough, man, because they're not a very analytical team. Like, they don't shoot threes. They're a mid-range jumper type of team. Johnny Juzang, Miles Bernard, Jaime Jaquez, they're all still there. They have the craziest hair guy in the whole country. He actually played high school basketball at Lalamere. His name's Tiger Campbell, point guard for UCLA. Check him out, Rod. He hasn't cut his hair since the 5th grade.
I'm in. They're my pick to come out of the East now, then, just based on that alone. And his name's Tiger, man. We get this year. It's like the couple years of the Tiger King. This guy's name's Tiger Campbell. I'm all in.
There you go. Yeah. So UCLA's not as athletic as Baylor or as Arizona. Arizona kind of exposed them in the Pac-12 championship, but they have experience. They have a great coach, and they are super deep too. So, and they just make shots. So they slow it down. They can play any pace that you want. So UCLA is tough out of the East.
You just hit a lot of the big March buzzwords right there, right? Experienced, can slow it down, good coach, right? I mean, Chris. I mean, these are national champions are littered throughout history with experienced teams, good coach, can slow it down, top-notch guard play, right?
Yeah, great guard play. That's exactly what I was about ready to say. Yeah, and UCLA has all of the above, and experience in March Madness as well. They gave Gonzaga everything that they could handle last year and almost got it done. Probably a big reason why Baylor was able to get it done in the championship game. And I think UCLA gets to the Final Four this year. I think they beat Kentucky in that Elite Eight game.
Nice. All right, Chris giving away one of his Final Four picks, even though he doesn't have to. That's how much he cares about you, the listener out there. All right, let's move over to the Midwest, the bracket that Mr. Williams was throwing serious shade at. And Mr. Williams, I guess we'll just start there, man. Unload. Fire the cannons. Yeah,
I mean, Kansas got the easiest, I think the weakest 2 seed. Auburn's been terrible away from home this year. They're 258th in three-point shooting. Yes, I know they have 2 of the best bigs in the country, Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler.
Well, we just talked about guards, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And Jabari Smith, this is something to be aware of if you're an NBA guy. He is awesome, but I think he's had like 72 post-ups this year, or they just get him the ball like post-up or mid-range. He's only taken like 73 dribbles. He's not comfortable dribbling the ball. Whereas Chet Holmgren and Paulo Banchero from Duke, they are comfortable dribbling the ball. So that's something to think about if your NBA favorite team has a top 3 pick. But Jabari Smith is awesome.
The Pacers could end up with one of those top 3 picks.
He's actually not aggressive enough. Like the Auburn guards don't get the ball.
Yeah, those guys hog the ball. I've heard that a little bit, that those Auburn guys think that they're way better than they actually are. They don't give the ball to Jabari enough. I've heard that.
Yeah. And the other, they got the weakest 3 seed in Wisconsin. They got the.
I was gonna say, is Wisconsin playing at home? Because I don't trust Wisconsin if they're not playing at the Kohl Center.
They got the luckiest team in the country, Providence. I have this crazy stat here. They're the 3rd most fortunate team in the last 21 years per Ken Pom. They're 11-2 in games decided by 5 points or less. Meanwhile, South Dakota State has the highest 3-point field goal percentage out of any team in the last 20 years. They're the best from behind the arc since the Brian Evans-led 93-94 Hoosiers team.
Wow, shout out BE.
Yeah. They're top 40 at the rim also. The South Dakota State team is really good. They're number 1 in non-transitional field goal percentage at 60%.
Is it the South Dakota State Jackrabbits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check this stat out. This is the craziest stat I think I've ever seen. 5 out of the top 6 in minutes played for them shoot over 40% from three-point range, and the 6th one shoots 39.6. So their top 6 guys shoot 39.6% from threes. That is unheard of. Like, if you have one guy shoot over 40% on your team, that's good. They've got 6 guys that can just drain it from three. So they are a team that is a super popular upset pick here against Providence.
How about that? Well, Chris, I know that you told me one of the greatest college basketball games you ever saw was a Texas Southern versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi matchup back in '74, and they're facing each other in the play-in tournament with the right to take on Kansas. So, I mean, does it matter to you who wins in that game versus Kansas? Because I know you're a huge, huge Bill Self fan.
Oh, I do not like Bill Self, and I really don't like Kansas. However, I don't see anybody stopping Kansas to get to the Elite Eight. They might get Creighton or San Diego State. That game's a toss-up. Really, Kansas, I think, has an easy path. This is a really kind of bad bracket. I mean, there's a lot of LSU, Wisconsin, USC, Iowa. Those are teams you really want to go watch play. Iowa's been good of late, but the biggest surprise for me going to be out of this bracket is going to be Providence. I think they keep that luck rolling. It is March. It is St. Patty's month. They're going to have some luck with them, and I think they will end up playing Kansas in the Sweet 16.
What does a Friar have to do with St. Patty's Day, though?
It's not about the Friars. It's about the luck. And they have been the luckiest
else could have
team.
The luck too.
Nope. Providence keeps it rolling. Even against, and I think that's what's going to happen that first round game. South Dakota State's going to be dangerous, and for some reason they will not hit threes. Providence gets lucky, move on to play Iowa, and then beat Iowa. It'll be fantastic watching Iowa lose in the second round.
And Fran McCaffrey will lose his ever-loving mind because that dude is a psycho.
He always looks like he's 2 steps away from a stroke.
He certainly does. That's definitely his look. All right, so it sounds like both of you guys are going to have Kansas coming out of the top into the Elite Eight there. Who do you got coming out of the bottom into the Elite Eight, Mr. Williams?
Oh, man. Here's where you can also throw another dart because that I hate all A teams, man, really. Like they're all overrated. Let's go rematch from last year's Sweet 16. I'll go Kansas and USC.
All right, Kansas, USC. We'll see. I kind of think I know who you're going to go with there into the Final Four, but we'll make everybody wait just a little bit longer. Let's tackle the South before we do our Final Four predictions. You have the Arizona Wildcats clocking in at the number 1 seed, which I'm still amazed that their coach is still their coach. It's just absolutely amazing to me that dude still has a job, and now they're the number 1 seed. It just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that there was
no. Sean Miller's not there anymore.
Oh, he's not. See, again, I don't know anything about college basketball. Who's the coach?
No, Tommy Lloyd. He's the Gonzaga assistant from last year. He's probably going to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think he's Coach of the Year.
Nice. There you go. Well, both of the Miller boys out of college basketball. Oh, man. I'm sure that just makes a whole bunch of people.
Well, until Rhode Island hires Archie Miller.
Yeah, that guy's definitely going to get himself a job, man. He's the belle of the ball. Everybody seems to think that dude's a wonderful coach until he coaches your team. And then you're like, wait a minute. This is what I signed up for? All right, so I had Arizona. Then we have Villanova. Best dressed Jay Wright, a man who loves to get himself a contract extension from Villanova just by floating his name out for NBA jobs every offseason. That's what Jay Wright likes to do. And who's the 3 seed in that region? Is that Tennessee?
Correct. Yep.
And is Tennessee still coached by that dude that played at Purdue?
Not Kawanzo Martin. That wasn't he in Vandy? I think. Yeah. Tennessee is Rick Barnes.
Yep.
Oh, Rick Barnes, the guy that used to coach at Texas, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and there's probably not a hotter team in basketball right now than Tennessee.
Yeah, Rick Barnes' biggest claim to fame before this, though, was Kevin Durant rolled through the Texas years. That was his biggest claim to fame other than that. He's one of those guys that gets a bunch of different schools of the tournament, though. I suppose he is that guy. He might even have coached at Providence once, speaking of Providence.
Actually, 2003 was his Final Four team with Texas. Do you remember who led him to the Final Four in that year, Rod or Chris?
Was that DJ Augustine?
It was not.
No, it's Kevin Durant, wasn't it?
It was not.
Oh.
Most outstanding player in that tournament, TJ Ford won that.
TJ Ford
won that award over Carmelo. That I cannot believe that. But yeah, that's the only time he's been to the Final Four. But I got some fade Rick Barnes stats here. He's 1-11-1 against the spread in his last 13 tourney games. That's not good at all. Yeah, Tennessee is super hot right now, but there's some concerning stats with them, man. Like the SEC had some pretty terrible teams at the bottom of the SEC, like Missouri and Georgia. Tennessee had a worse 2-point field goal shooting percentage than every team in the SEC, and somehow they won the SEC tournament. That's just more props to their defense. They are awesome defensively, but, man, when you go through lulls where you can't hit twos, I don't know, man. That's and people are this super popular pick, like Chris said. I'm willing to fade them getting knocked out maybe a round earlier than most people think.
So who do you like who do you like the most in that bracket? Do you like the 1 seed there? Are you chalky in the South?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody. I mean, I think if Houston was fully healthy, they lost their best player of the year early in Mark Sasser, and then they lost like their third or fourth best player, Tremont Mark, like 3 days after that. And all Houston has done is just ran through everybody. They did have a little hiccup last game of the year against Memphis, but, dude, they play awesome defense. They're like top 5 KenPom ranking. They are a tough team, man, and I know a lot of people have UAB upsetting them, and UAB is a really good team too. This is another one where the committee like paired up 2 teams that are hot right now, or I wish they would have spread out the talent a little bit more. But, yeah, I like Houston to beat UAB. I actually like Houston to upset Illinois. I've got a wild Illini stat. Andre Curbelo, their point guard, when he plays more than 20 minutes, the Illini is only 3-6 this year. And when he doesn't play, they are 13-1. So he's got super highs, but he's also got super lows. Like, he can make unbelievable passes, but at the same time has some mind-boggling turnovers. So Houston plays outstanding defense. I like Houston to get to the Sweet 16, but I don't think they have enough to compete with Zona. I like Zona to get to the Elite 8.
Don't feel too bad for those Houston guys that are injured. I guarantee their coach Kelvin Sampson is keeping in constant communication with them via cell phone. We know he has plenty of experience with that.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
Chris, how about you, man? What are your thoughts in the South?
Yeah, it's a tough little bracket. I'm kind of with Williams when it comes to Houston. I think they get to the Sweet 16, but they can't keep up with Zona. I do like Villanova and Tennessee in the bottom half of that bracket. I think they get through easily to the Sweet 16. I don't see Ohio State getting through.
Is Sister Jean going to take out Ohio State?
That would be phenomenal. I love Loyola Chicago. I don't think they get it done, though. Liddell's a phenomenal player at Ohio State, so I think they get through round 1. So I think it's going to be Tennessee, Villanova in that Sweet 16, and I think it's going to be Arizona and Tennessee in the Elite 8.
Does Michigan have big nobody believes in us vibes here? Right, we're getting behind our coach. We're gonna roll up. We're gonna show people that we're tougher than they realize. Does Michigan have any of that on their side?
I don't think so.
I was going to take Michigan to beat Tennessee. I think they can get by Colorado State. Colorado State has one of the most fascinating players in the country playing for them, like a 6'5", 256 like point forward who just
Beefy.
Man, Dave Roddy, check
It's
him
like
out.
Charles Barkley running the point.
Yeah, he's really talented, but he's got a really tough matchup.
Well, listen, if there's anything that Zion has taught us, 6'5" beefy guys have a great history in the NBA the last couple of years. He's playing a boatload of games for New Orleans.
No, Zion's taller than that. Zion's like 6'8", right?
Either way, he's beefy, and he ain't playing a whole lot of games. He's played 1 season in 3 years. But go ahead. Good luck to anybody who wants old Dave Roddy on their team.
Well, yeah, it's a tough matchup for him, man, because Dickinson has him, he's got like 5 or 6 inches on him. Really good defensive player, and Mbumate also from Michigan. But It was late injury news today where Michigan does not have their point guard now, DeMonte Jones. He's got a concussion, so maybe they can get past Colorado State, but Tennessee has one of the best pressure defenses in the country. They're top 15 at turning people over. That's a cause for concern when you don't have your point guard, and we saw how Michigan just pissed down their leg against IU with their strong defense in the Big Ten tournament. So I was going to take Michigan to upset Tennessee, but I don't think I can now without their point guard. But a team that does not turn the ball over is Villanova. Colin Gillespie, Big East Player of the Year. I think I'm against Chris there. I think I like Nova to get past Tennessee and Rick Barnes there.
All right, there we go. Let's go back over to the West. Mr. Williams, who do you ultimately have cutting down the nets in the West region and representing that in the Final Four?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be Gonzaga and Texas Tech. I think Gonzaga would rather play Texas Tech. They beat them earlier in the year. They actually lost to Duke earlier in the year. That's when Duke was playing really, really good defense. They got up on their grills, up in their Gonzaga's grills. They made it super uncomfortable for Gonzaga, but Duke just is not playing that type of defense anymore, or at least lately they haven't been. So for that reason, I think Gonzaga and Texas Tech meet up in the Elite Eight. I just don't know if Texas Tech has enough offense to hang with Gonzaga here. They don't really have a point guard, and they don't really have anybody taller than 6'8" that can match up with Drew Timme and Chet Holmgren down low. So for those reasons, I like Gonzaga probably to get to the Final Four.
I forgot about Drew Timme, man, the classic college basketball dude who's the Cherokee Parks-esque, right? Like, great guy for Gonzaga, but I'm not real sure that dude's going to translate into the NBA. So go ahead and get yours while you still can, Drew Timme. I'm with you, Mr. Williams. Gonzaga coming out of the West. Mr. King, you're a contrarian sometimes just to be a contrarian. What say you in the West?
I think Gonzaga gets to the Elite Eight. I also think Duke gets to the Elite Eight. This is Krzyzewski's final year. I know they aren't playing as well the last 2 weeks of the season as they were the rest of the season, but this is where Krzyzewski really shines, and he's going to propel this team to his final four, and they will beat Gonzaga again and the Elite Eight to make it there.
Look at you, a North Carolinian through and through these days.
It's good. Listen, Krzyzewski is the greatest coach in modern NCAA, bar none, and this is almost a second season for this team. I think you'll see them come out with the fire and the passion that they did at the beginning of the season when they beat Gonzaga earlier.
They just don't. They don't have any killers on this team. They don't have any experience, and I think this last season has really put a burden on these kids' shoulders. Man, you saw it in the North Carolina game. Then they just got absolutely waxed by Virginia Tech. Man, I don't trust this defense. I would push back hard on you saying Coach K is the best ever. Man, you're talking about X's and O's wise. I don't even think he's in the top 5. But I mean,
I said modern NCAA. I would put him right up there with John Wooden, neck and neck. I don't know if you can have a better college basketball coach than either one of those guys.
One of the top recruiters, but X's and O's, he's got nothing on Robert Montgomery Knight or Rick Pitino. As much as I hate Rick Pitino.
Williams, your brand of being so hard on coaches is absolutely just shine through at all times, man. I love it. You aren't as quick as Chris and I are to bash a player, but man, you will give it to a coach every once in a while, and I love that about you.
Well, I mean,
Krzyzewski is a disciple of Knight, so it's not like you're dissing Knight, but I think his track record proves it.
His track record does prove it. How many times has he been a 2 seed and he's lost to a 15 seed? I mean, that's happened 3 or 4 times. He's had all the talent in the world, and he's won 1 outright ACC championship since 2006. Tony Bennett has whooped his ass lately, and I mean, I don't know. I don't even think he's in the top 5. But
did he ever throw a chair? Did he ever throw a chair? That's what I asked you. If he hasn't thrown a chair, he's got no chance of being as good as Robert Montgomery all night, because that is dedication to your team, willing to throw a chair.
He is a coach that is from the mold of a Knight type coach, old
Did he
school,
throw a chair?
and he was able to successfully navigate the turn to the one and done era of what is currently college basketball.
Oh, please.
And
You hate the one and done era. You were
I
twisted
do.
in knots right now to defend Coach K.
I do. I don't like it, but he has successfully transferred over into that era and still has relevance and is a national powerhouse. There's not
I
too
love
many
that
other
when we're
coaches that
talking
have been able
college
to do that.
basketball. We talk college basketball, and you can argue for something that you're against. But with baseball, heck no. You can't think about what anybody else's feelings might be when it comes to baseball rules. It's got to be what you want. But with college basketball, you can twist yourself in knots and defend Coach K. Oh, Chris King, you are a contrarian for contrarian's sake, and I love you, my friend.
No, he's
right,
made
who?
Duke relevant. He's made Duke relevant, but he's never.
There's no doubt about that.
He's never taken like a 1987 like Hoosier team to the championship. Like that team hardly had any compared to like Duke talent. That team did not have nearly as much talent as all the Duke teams that won the national championships. So he's always had the talent. That's what I'm saying.
He certainly has, but Phil Jackson has had all the talent. We consider him one of the greatest coaches in the NBA. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You got to have talent to even be in the conversation because, you know, a lot of people, when you guys threw John Wood's name out there, would argue that, yeah, I mean, he had all the great players too. So, you know, that's how it goes. So Chris has Duke. Williams and I have Gonzaga taking on who from the East? Mr. Williams, you say.
Yeah, I just don't think Nova has enough size to match up with Zona.
No, the East. The East. Who
you're talking about
who
the
Gonzaga or Duke have to take on?
You went down. Okay. This is the toughest bracket here. Toughest region. I'll say UCLA comes out of the East.
Wow. All right. Shout out to the Bruins and the great uniforms that the UCLA Bruins have. Cuts to Bill Walton in the crowd wearing a tie-dye shirt. I'm all for it. Chris, who do you got coming out of the East?
I have UCLA playing Kentucky in that Elite Eight matchup, and I also have UCLA going to the Final Four and knocking Kentucky out.
Nice. There you go. I love that. Anytime Kentucky can lose, we are going to highlight that here on the podcast. So we have Kentucky losing. Mr. Williams, when did you have Kentucky losing, by the way? Let's just go ahead and point that out.
It's probably in that game too. UCLA, Kentucky. Man, like the East can go like 15 different ways. If I tell you what, man, I think IU matches up pretty well with UCLA, and if they can get past St. Mary's, it's not out of the question, man. We saw IU. I just gave you the breakdown of the guy on VSiN saying that they're the biggest Cinderella team out there, but if they can hit any threes, man, they could give UCLA a game. UCLA plays slow. That's what the Hoosiers like to do. But, yeah, I mean, the East is the toughest region to pick here.
All right. But you guys both have UCLA coming out. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then I love as well, and Mr. Williams, because I always give you crap about this on our football show when you pick an upset special here. I get all of your arguments for IU as Cinderella, but I mean, we're talking about one of the most storied programs in all of college basketball being a Cinderella.
No, they just the way they labeled it, and then they rank all those teams, and Indiana was number one. I was like, I don't know if I can call Indiana Cinderella, but I mean, you could in these last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, we all know that like this podcast was basically born on me trashing Archie Miller. So I mean, that's definitely something that I did for years, and the main reason I trash him is because he never made the tournament. So you know, it is what it is. Let's go over to the Midwest, Mr. Williams, where you were trying to tell us. No, excuse me, up to the South, where you were trying to tell us all about Villanova and Arizona.
Yeah. I just don't think Nova has enough size to knock off Zona. Zona's just so big, man, and they're so fast. They play up tempo. Nova can try and slow it down as much as possible. Gillespie will try and keep them in the game, but I just think Zona has too much for Nova here. So I have Zona getting to the Final Four.
Chris, your thoughts?
I actually have Tennessee beating Villanova in that Sweet 16 matchup to play Arizona. I see it was a little bit more of a tighter game, but I still see Arizona winning and getting to the Final Four.
All right, so you guys both agree on Zona, you both agree on UCLA, and you are split on Gonzaga and Duke so far. So I like that. Mr. Williams, what do you got?
That would be a rematch from earlier. That's one of the 3 Zona losses. They actually lost at Tennessee earlier in the year. I think they would have revenge on their mind. If that was the matchup, I could see Zona beating them by double digits in that game.
Well, there we go. That's a good one to look forward to because that's really what March Madness is all about, right? We're going to sit down and we're going to watch these games here this weekend, and we're going to be hoping for upsets. But really, the cream is going to end up rising to the top, and you hope for matchups like that on the second weekend. That's definitely what you hope March Madness ends up being all about. Let's go to the Midwest and finish it out. Let's see if we have more agreement from our college basketball guys or if they're going to separate here in Kansas's bracket down in the Midwest. Chris, we'll start with you this time. What do you got in the Midwest?
This is the region where I really think it's a coin toss. I really don't like any of the teams in this whole bracket to do anything but get to the Final Four. I ended up having Kansas and Auburn in that Elite Eight. I couldn't see Wisconsin getting there. I couldn't see Providence or Iowa getting there or USC. And because I really don't have much faith in Kansas to win the big game, I think Auburn beats Kansas and Auburn ends up in the Final Four.
Ooh, all right. Mr. Williams, how about you? Who do you got coming out of the Midwest?
I got Kansas, and this is my best bet of the whole March Madness here. On FanDuel, you can find Kansas plus 200 to make it to the Final Four. The committee absolutely gave them a cakewalk here. They're playing better. They're getting Remy Martin back, who was one of the best players in the Pac-12 last year for Arizona State. He's going to give them steady play at point guard. You got Ochai Agbaji, the Big 12 Player of the Year, actually made AP All-American. And you got McCormick down low playing well. Wilson and Braun average double figures. Bill Self is a good coach. So, I think Kansas rolls easily into New Orleans out of this bracket, out of this region.
Bill Self, good coach. Also, good hairpiece on Bill Self. So a lot of good happening on Bill Self there. So we got Chris has Auburn, Williams has Kansas. But other than that, they agree on two, disagree on two others. The championship game, Mr. Williams, is who?
Yeah, this one's tough here. I think I'm going to have Gonzaga losing in the championship game, and I'll take. This is a toss-up between Arizona and Kansas. I think Arizona and Kansas are the two best teams. There's a stat called wins above bubble, and these two teams lead it. Kansas number 1, Arizona's number 2. Toss it up for contrarian's sake. I'll take Kansas to get past Arizona, even though I think Arizona matches up better with them. But I think more people will take Arizona. So if you're going game theory, let's go Kansas. And then I'll take Kansas to beat Gonzaga in the championship.
Kansas to beat my Zags. How dare you? How dare you? Chet Holmgren will be crying a la Adam Morrison, says Mr. Williams. Mr. King, what say you?
So in my Final Four, the magic for Krzyzewski runs out, and I have UCLA beating Duke. I have Arizona easily handling Auburn and the other side, and I end up having Arizona coming out on top over UCLA for the championship.
Shout out Matt Roberts. Mr. King has your Arizona Wildcats cutting down the nets in this year's madness, which begins later today. So get your bets in, get your office pool gigs in. You got your final deadline here, I imagine, up until about noon if you're listening to this in the morning. If you're listening to this after games have already started out, you can still place bets on all of your different apps. Mr. Williams gave you a couple little nuggets there. We will be back, and we will have to get hardcore into the NBA, and the Masters will be right around the corner, Mr. King. That's what we got ahead of us, right?
Who doesn't like us getting back to Augusta?
That's
We're
right.
going to have Mr. Roberts back on here. We're going to talk about the pomp and pageantry that is the Masters.
The azaleas, the pimento cheese sandwiches, the lemonade, all of it. We'll be talking about all of that here real soon. And Mr. Williams, do you have any parting words for the Morgan Nation while you're about to go on your hibernation for a little while until we bring you back for any QB carousel news that we feel has to come up, or possibly maybe we'll do a check-in on the NFL draft?
Man, just hoping that my Hoosiers can win a game or maybe two in this tournament. Man, it's good to see them back. It's good to have a win underneath our belt against Wyoming. So let's go Hoosiers.
And I mean, do you want to fill the listeners in on what your new Thursday night plans will be for the next couple of weeks when you don't have to record this podcast? Are you going to start a bowling league, or are you going to go out and get a new euchre tournament? What are you going to do?
Yeah. I would love to get some double deck euchre going. Let's go, man. Let's go. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
Oh, double deck euchre.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Shout out to Jimmy Jamriska and me and Mr. Williams and assorted fourths all throughout the years down there in Muncie playing some double deck euchre. So that is Balls and Brew for this week. Make sure you stay tuned to the Morgan You Know Podcast Network for Yeah We Know In the Ring with Jimmy and Hot Rod. Plenty of wrestling news coming at you. And don't forget about Come On In, the debut episode of Come On In. The Mrs. Morgan You Know and I's Survivor recap was in your feeds yesterday. Had a new episode of Survivor yesterday. So, of course, next Wednesday, episode 2 of Come On In will be in your feed. We promise that it's 15 minutes, and we promise that it'll be right there for you at the beginning of the day on a Wednesday. Listen to it when you're getting ready. Listen to it on your lunch break, on your drive to work, your drive home, when you're getting food ready. 15 minutes for you. If you're a big Survivor fan, you should be checking out Come On In. That's enough from me. Final word goes to Mr. King.
Goodbye, Internet.